Let's talk about your professional presence. So if you are a legitimate investor, you will have an awareness and a presence around the internet. And it's not just your website, and it's not just having your own domain, and it's not just having an email. You need to be present. You need to be able to be found. You need to be able to be Googled and who you are as the investor. If you Google your name, what comes up? If people are looking for you and they want to, really just figure out who are you. Most people are super critical and they really just want to, allay all of their fears. They're just trying to figure out, is this person legit to work with? Because, remember, we don't know where they're coming from and their past experiences with other investment companies. And so just consider you're trying to build up the image of being the best, right? And I'm not saying to, make some things up about yourself and, you're just the number one, but you're trying to create an image of who you are in the digital world, right? And if you don't have anything about you that people can find, they're really just going to fill in the gaps by themselves, and they're just going to make assumptions. And so the real point of creating a professional presence online is to really fill the voids for them so that they don't have to wonder, and you really kind of answering all of the questions that they might have in their own mind, and really answering the question of who are you, and what's the experience like of working with your company. So some of the really important spaces to pay attention to here are like LinkedIn. That's a really key one that a lot of agents use and I think is overlooked by a lot of investors. Does your company have a LinkedIn business page? That's really, really easy to set up. Does your company have employees underneath, marked as employees on the company? Do you have an about me section, like all of the basics of a LinkedIn profile? Do you have all those things dialed in? Do you have people referring you? Do you have, the testimonials on your LinkedIn site that can refer to other people? Are you even connected with all of the connections that you could be on your LinkedIn? The 500 plus max, do you have the LinkedIn professional so that you can, really understand who's looking at your profile? What that means when you have all that dialed in is that you are taking your business seriously and that you're trying to be seen in all of the places that you could be seen. So just really consider that, having a presence on any type of professional site like LinkedIn, and I'm sure there's a lot of other ones that you can really use, but understanding that you need to have your Facebook business page dialed in. Can you be seen on these different social media platforms? And if, depending on the size of your team, you can really dedicate time and energy to putting out blog posts, publishing using Buffer or Hootsuite, and really tag every single social media platform that you can. If you can't be found on LinkedIn, Facebook, even Instagram or Twitter, and being somewhat of a figure of authority and, sharing information about what you're doing, there's only a certain level of, authenticity and conviction that the agent will feel that you are one of the best people to work with. And so the more content that you can really crank out, and the more of a, just really established footing. I'm not saying you need to be, have a dedicated team to like only doing social media. That's not the point here at all. But the point here is to have an established, homepage for your business so that if they look for you, they can find you, right? I'm not saying that you need to have, a ton of content out there. It depends on how big your team is, but like that can be costly, and, it can take a lot of time to develop, which should be done over time. If you're going to be building a business in this industry over the next few years, it doesn't take a lot of energy to put, out one piece of content, every week or every month or whatever you have. So, just realize that there are a lot of places that you can really, put your sign online and be found. Be able to be found is the point here. And, take the initial time to, just build up the basics. Even if you just have your About Me section and just like access back to your website, like that's enough as long as it's there. But you really need to just make sure that you're able to be found so that people can, question like, is this a legit company, or is this just some, Joe Schmo, or like even a real person? People have said that I look like a fake person, like because my avatar is just like looks staged or whatever it is. But then they could find me online. They found my personal profile. They found all these other things, and then they could kind of validate that I was like a real person. So build a professional presence, and just realize that most people are very scrupulous, and they're going to look everywhere and try to poke holes in who you are. And so the more that you can build up who you are, and share with testimonials and things like that you're a legitimate company, and that you can be trusted, that will make your world a lot easier to navigate, and it'll just make your whole overall experience a lot easier doing that up front, as opposed to taking down those considerations as agents bring them up and asking you all these questions. So go ahead and start to build out those digital presences, and you will find your world be a lot easier. All right, I'll see you in the next video.